Welcome back Inside the Game here on the National Soccer Network. Getting into, you know what time it is. It's Tanner time here on Inside the Game. It's Friday. Let's talk a little Major League Indoor Soccer with our buddy Tanner White. What's up?
What's up, Tanner?
Hey, good morning, guys. So glad to be back again. Are we still workshopping the name there of Tanner Time?
I don't know.
Are we?
John basically told us
we
it was
got to
Tanner
pick it
time.
up with
Yeah.
Boss Man at some point here.
We can change it to something else.
Boss
I tell you
man actually
something,
told us
I'm
Tanner time. We kind of rolled with that one, but, they like the idea.
All right. Well, we'll discuss that on the line.
Appreciate you having you back in though. We were taking a look a little bit, chatting about the standings inside of Major League Indoor Soccer. I know we want to talk about the power rankings here today, but it seems like we're getting to that point where contenders are starting to separate themselves from the pretenders. What have you seen recently in both the leagues?
Yeah, very exciting time as we have our very first clinch from last weekend. Congratulations, our neighbors from the north, Toronto Canadian Crusaders. They still look like the class of things. What do I tell you guys about this goalkeeper, Phil Zendelik? That guy he would be the top striker on most teams, and he's the defending goalkeeper of the year. It's insane what the guy's still doing. They're one of the most technically sound teams. They're still looking down at Amarillo in the south, and Amarillo hasn't quite clinched yet, even at the 8-0 mark. And yet, when those two meet, I cannot tell you, guys, what we could see. That's still, if I had to take a guess, that's probably my championship prediction, that those two are going to be out front the entire way of their conference and are probably going to meet in that final. But Cleveland could always shake it up. The second spots in both conferences are still open. And on that MLIS side, yeah, you tell me you know what's going to happen right now, I'd say not a chance because I don't. And I watch all these games all the time.
Tanner,
on the women's side, of course.
Oh,
go on.
Tanner, you had a chance to do a couple games this weekend. What did you see from women's side, obviously? What did you see from the women's side this weekend?
Yeah, so those games in Kalamazoo, we did another one of those little round-robin weekends. Chicago, I mean, they picked up where they left off. Kalamazoo, they were a winless club, here's the thing, coming into the weekend, and then ended up getting a forfeit from Albuquerque. So they did meet a pretty formidable New Jersey squad. That team played well over the weekend. Again, they played on Saturday, and Chicago took them down. But two huge wins on Sunday for Jersey makes everything over in the East there a lot more interesting. They are even in points right now with Fort Wayne, and you start to think between those two, it's really going to be tough because you've only got the one head-to-head matchup between them. That tiebreaker is probably going to fall to Jersey if those two should finish up even. And Fort Wayne knows, well, shoot, we got Chicago 3 times down the line here, and we probably got to win, at least one of those and maybe pick up another point somewhere. I really did see a lot of good from Jersey, and there is a great chance that they now could get into Vegas with just that performance and winning those really 2 crucial games against Kalamazoo and Fort Wayne.
You were talking about on the men's side, you're talking about Zendelik, and I think it's interesting that you can be both probably the best goaltender in the league and also one of the best goal scorers in the league. It's we talk about the comparisons with hockey, and obviously we just got done watching the men's team and the women's team win gold, but Hellebuck, for as good of a goalie as he is, he's not out there scoring goals as well. I feel like having someone who's as good of an athlete as that, who can do both, who can make the saves, who can go out and score, is really the difference maker for these teams. I feel like he's the star right now in Major League Indoor Soccer. Like if there was a face of the league, I feel like he would certainly be one of them.
Yeah, absolutely with you on that. Everybody could say, oh, well, maybe it deserves to be the leading scorer. And for all the world, that looks like it's going to be Rafael Tobias in Orlando.
Who's very good as well.
Yeah. Absolutely, right? I mean, he had gotten way out front in goals scored. I told you Orlando had that front-loaded schedule. And so it was Tobias and then, a million miles and then anybody else behind him, as Orlando still got just the one game left and they're ahead of everybody, sort of chronologically in their schedule there. But, yeah, I think if I had to pick one guy who I'd say, first of all, I think a goalkeeper can and should win MVP here for this season for everything that we've seen from Zendelik.
Yeah.
And second of all, his team is dominating everybody, and he's a huge part of it on both ends. I think it should be Philip Zendelik.
Yeah. You feel like they've built a good roster around him too? Because I feel like he's kind of the centerpiece, but they seem pretty deep in all the other positions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. What you've seen with Toronto is when they do have to change their lineup up, when they have to play guys in spots maybe that they're not as used to, or they have to, go to a reserve keeper. They have a combined shutout this year with Zendelik and their backup keeper John Smits. You know, they don't miss a beat.
Yeah.
Defensively, they're as tough no matter what bodies they're putting out there. Their
Yeah.
foot skill is still incredible beyond Zendelik too, and they just haven't been pushed all that much that
Yeah.
Fort Wayne was one of the closest, and that's a winless club, right? That game was 8-5
Yeah.
a couple of
Yeah.
weekends ago, and you're like, oh, well, wait a minute, the Fort Wayne's there, kind of making noise, and that team plays real hard. But man, if I had to pick a deepest team too, it's probably Toronto, and that always gives you a chance when you get to playoff time.
Yeah.
Tanner, I always have like a tactical question, I guess, when it comes to the indoor game because everyone loves the outdoor game. Maybe we'll change it to like tactics with Tanner instead of Tanner time. Maybe we'll do tactics with Tanner. I don't know how it's gonna work, but we'll figure it out.
Uh,
Would you say in the indoor game it's maybe more a little bit on athleticism and speed rather than like setting up your team tactically as if it were an outdoor game?
Man, it's tough. It can be. You do see some outdoor players where their conditioning might actually struggle a little bit because of kind of the level of sprint and the top explosiveness that you need. And so there are some fantastic outdoor players who struggle to make that transition a little
mm,
bit when you don't really have a lot of this indoor background and you just haven't really been so exposed to it. Now, it can be overstated for some. Some make that transition completely smooth and flawless, and some have been playing the indoor game their whole life too, and they get their touches throughout the whole off season. It's tough to say to me because I think it's on a real case by case basis. I'm going to cop out and take the politically correct answer. But every once in a while, there's somebody that you kind of identify them on film and you say, this is an outdoor player playing indoors.
yep. Yeah. And it's I imagine so just a very quick technical question. I know I want to get more into the weeds on this. What do line changes look like? Is it like hockey? Do you do it live when you run to the boards and then someone else jumps on, or is it more like a stoppage and play and then you change who's on the pitch? I'm curious.
Yeah, yeah, I'm so glad that you started with that. Sometimes we do have to get back to basics. Yeah, so you can have live changes during play. You
Okay.
can go,
All right.
the whole 5-for-5 at a stoppage if you need to, but you'll usually see, one or two coming on at a time. You'll certainly
Okay.
see sometimes a player will signal. They'll give you, the universal head tap. Hey, coach, I need one. And again, that might be just because you're
Yeah.
gassed, or it might be something schematically that you want to change. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, you can't do those live during play. You can pull the goalkeeper during play. That's always fun. Go for the sixth attacker and bring them on, and they'll wear a penny or something like that to just signify that they are that sixth attacker and not a goalkeeper. It happens oh so quickly, and to the point that we've actually had some too many player penalties when somebody's just
Mm.
trying to burst
Wow.
through that gate. It might get on a little
Yeah.
bit early. You can get hard for that.
Wow. So I guess I am curious since we're riding the high of the Olympics right now. Should we make indoor soccer an Olympic sport? Maybe so we can take another sport away from Canada if we get the chance.
Absolutely. Yes, please. They can't have it that good for that long. You know what I mean? And that Toronto
Yeah.
soccer scene, ironically, awesome. They host a
Really?
bunch of tournaments over there with great teams, and it's like, all right, so we're coming for you. Let's have it. Let's have it on the biggest stage in the world.
Let's
Would
do it.
would it be winter? Would it be a winter sport?
I mean, I think so, right? So you can play indoor any time of the year, but why wouldn't you have it in the winter?
Okay.
Again,
Yeah.
to spite the Canadians, right?
Okay.
Yeah. 4 for 4.
That's
Um,
right.
real quick, Tanner. Which one do you want to do your power rankings first for the men's side or the women's side? What would you like first?
Yeah, let's start on the women's side.
Women's side. All right.
Sure.
Let's
All
take
right.
a look at these for you. You got
I tried
Chicago
making a
Mustangs in
pyramid,
first.
but like it wasn't working, and I was just crashing out about it. So I just
Yeah,
listed it for you.
something that might be more trouble than it's worth sometimes, but appreciate you.
But yeah, go ahead, give us your breakdown on what the table looks like. I know you talked a little bit about your favorites. Obviously, Chicago has looked great, and the Uprising have looked great as well. But just some of your opinions on those power rankings on the women's side.
Yeah, we'll do. I think Chicago continues to be the class of things. This club has never
Yeah.
lost. You know what I mean? We're a full season and a half in. The most that they've ever been pushed was last year in the championship game against Fort Wayne. They still won that one 8-7, and they've just exactly picked up where they left off here. They rotate multiple goalkeepers through, everybody playing well there. Stephanie Nunez, what do I always tell you about her? The reigning MVP, the all-time goal scorer, the all-time point creator in the league, and has not had to be the focus on the attack in any way. I do still think that, she's one of the best attacking midfielders I've ever seen in my life, and yet just can take that back seat because everybody else still produces at a high level for that team. And again, no matter what goalkeeper they've got in there, they're performing really well on that. Utah just took down Phoenix again at home on Sunday.
Some great goals in that one.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a ton of highlights to it too. But man, as you're sitting undefeated 5-0 there, they're almost gonna lock up, by a week or two from now, that top spot in the West, and then it's almost certainly gonna be Phoenix that catches them. And so I think you have to have those two as your top two out of the West by a whole bunch, and that puts them 2 and 3 in my list. I'm telling you, it's really close between Fort Wayne and New Jersey. These two, I kind of flip-flopped on. I went back and forth a little bit because you saw Jersey with the head-to-head win over them in Kalamazoo. It became a really tough decision for me. Now, Fort Wayne, you see it, they're 4-2 so far on paper. They do kind of have to beat Chicago at some point here, right, in order to get in over New Jersey and maybe beat them more than once or at least take them to overtime a couple of times and stack some points there. I think 19 points is that magic number that'll get them in. And so, are they going to be able to do that? We haven't seen it. Again, nobody has touched Chicago. They're undefeated all time in this league in a year and a half. So, I don't know. That could certainly flop before we get to Las Vegas for that championship weekend. But that's why those two sit right in the middle there. Las Vegas, man, they looked incredible in that Las Vegas weekend, just 3 weeks ago. And now kind of a little bit quieter. The pace and the shock of some of these indoor rules hit all of those teams that were playing in Las Vegas, and now everybody's adjusted and they've gotten the feel for it, and now they're towards that bottom of the table, but still at the bottom there you have Albuquerque, New Mexico Lightning, had to forfeit a couple of games from Kalamazoo, and then Kalamazoo themselves, the host club from last week, with just the one win picking up on the forfeit, playing everybody tough, playing everybody tight. They're super, super physical, and that has caused them to rack up some fouls and some cards and things. But on any given Saturday, any given weekend, they could still hang with any one of these teams. And they've got an interesting matchup with Chicago. They got to go there this Saturday. And if they want to be the first ones to upset Chicago, well, then we can start talking about the whole rest of the league and what they might be able to do too.
Yeah. I feel like any given weekend should be the motto for Major League Indoor Soccer. I feel like that's a good one. Could lose any given weekend. Yeah,
I could
like
go
it.
and put that on the website right now.
No lead is safe. I remember that one. My first game I watched, it was like 6-1, and then all of a sudden they were losing. Crazy. How about the opposite side on the men's side? Who do you like? What have you been seeing? Your rankings and your reasons for that.
Yeah, we'll blast through this one too. So the two that have been the class of the league and that seemingly will continue to be, Toronto's already clinched. Amarillo is essentially there. Cleveland, it's interesting. They lost 2 at a bad time. Told you all about that. Rockford being one of those that kind of really made people recoil, and they said, "Oh, what's going on here?" But they are real close to clinching. You do have Chicago still in the mix there on the North Conference side of things. And you start to think, well, yeah, that could happen. Chicago's won 3 in a row, and they're hot right now. They picked a really good time to do that. And then Pittsburgh's still in contention in that 4th spot in the North. And so that's why you see Pittsburgh there, Bridge City, in the middle of the table overall. But over on the North, you thought, yeah, well, they can stick around and still make noise. They probably got to win out, so you never know. But that's a lot to talk about. Orlando, what do we tell you about them? Been out front all year long, man. And yet they are still not locked in. They just happened to play 11 out of their 12, packed in a lot closer. And they got one more with Dallas. You presume that they'll win that, pick up those 3 points. That's all well and good. But you can't guarantee that Utah won't come and catch them. That Utah team on their men's side, their women's side, both real technically skilled, and they're going to have a chance. They've just got to continue to win, and then they can certainly catch Orlando, and they could be heading into Vegas. But your top 3 that's probably not going to change for me at any point. And it's highly, highly likely that we're going to see all those 3 in Vegas. The only other question kind of Is it going to be Atletico Pro there out of Orlando, or is it going to be Utah catching them for that second spot in Vegas? Lansing, what do I tell you guys? Red Cedar FC, that club plays everybody really tough. They just quite got eliminated last weekend. It's like, well, that was a really tough game that they had to go and play in Toronto, and nobody wants to play there in Toronto, whether we want to admit it or not. So, no, absolutely not, right? Just making the trip there is kind of tough, and then you see the weather forecast, and you're like, oh, okay, never mind. Sorry, I'm sick that day, coach.
Yeah, and they're all mad at Americans anyway
Yeah.
right now, so sorry, we beat you.
Yeah, I don't like us to begin with, but I gotta say, I love the nicknames, man. I wish more sports were like that. Crusaders, Bombers. I'm just saying they got some cool nicknames in Major League Indoor Soccer. But I appreciate you breaking down those power rankings for us. Anything else you want to leave us with in terms of Major League Indoor Soccer and what to look forward to coming up here in the next coming weeks?
I think the big clinches are going to be, pretty bang bang here. It's likely that Amarillo, should they be able to win this weekend, they're going to lock that up. That's exciting to, first of all, just get everybody making their plans for Vegas. Like, hey guys, this is a big trip, right? And we got to lock this now. You say the end of March, you say the 28th, 29th, but you look up and you're like, oh, that's like a week and a day from today.
Yeah.
The answer is yeah. So, the hotel's all blocked and the flight's all booked. Like, yeah, you got to get that as soon as humanly possible. The worst possible scenario is everything comes down to the very last weekend, and then everybody starts to say, wow, these flights are insane, and man, the blocked hotels are getting more and more packed.
Good for a media perspective, though.
It is, of course. Every single game we're playing out here really pretty much matters. Bottom of the table clubs are beating people. They're shaking things up. That Rockford and Cleveland match, I'm telling you, that was awesome. And we just don't know what's going to happen week to week. It keeps everybody enthralled. The YouTube numbers are still really good. That YouTube channel is my baby, and it's so fun to manage. But, man, that's, I think, what I'm looking forward to most is being able to clinch, getting these clinching graphics out, right? Adriana, our communications director, absolutely flawless job that she does running our socials, and just knowing who's going to be there in Vegas to allow us all to prepare for it.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you as always stopping by. And yeah, I mean, from a logistical perspective, I imagine it'd be tough if it came down to the end, but from an entertainment perspective, I certainly think you guys have something going there, and it'd be nice to see it come all the way down to the end, because you were talking about, any given weekend, and it certainly has that vibe in Major League Indoor Soccer. So we appreciate you stopping by as always, Tanner.
Hey, you bet. Thanks so much, guys. See you soon.
That's Tanner time. We'll workshop that a little bit for the next time you're on, but that's Tanner White here on Inside the Game.